Hey, not sure. Thank you for the Prime subscription. Yeah, we're about to get into it. Biannual XCOM next week. Very excited about it. But tonight, tonight we have something very important. It is I suppose technically, the first race of the new season with the league that was formerly known as F1 Broke Boys. We are here in Revolution tonight for the Spanish Grand Prix. It seems like it might have started a bit early. Nah, I think we're okay. So some of these drivers you will recognize from last season with the commentary that we did on Tier 2. Some of them you may not recognize. I definitely don't remember all of my controls, but it's fine. I'll work it out. Are you back into the kit car? The driver, well, the driver draw, I suppose you could call it, the sort of car reveal, has not been decided yet, not sure. So when you see these drivers tonight racing in a particular car, don't think that that's going to be their car for the season, because that's not the way it works. But the driver draw is coming up probably towards the back end of this month. So we don't really know. Inazuma, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome on in. Welcome to a very exciting race, hopefully, around Circuit de... is it Barcelona, Catalunya, or Catalunya, Barcelona? For pre-season in Tier 2. Okay. Well, probably... Now, one thing I will say is, I have no idea what the audio is like. Can you hear me and also hear the game when I do this? Can you hear me now over the sound of a raging Formula 1 car? Because I don't know. I haven't tested out any of this stuff. There's also a fun little graphical glitch happening in the bottom left of the screen, which is exciting. Hello, Jatin. Welcome on in, you're very welcome. We're going to ride on board with Shelby, though. One of our favourites, probably, from last season. Pulled off some fantastic drives as we follow around. The car is loud. Okay, the car is loud. The car is loud. Well, what about if I just did this? What about if I did that? That might be a little bit better. As we see Shelby swing it around the flat out turn 13, and there's probably a slight lift around the final corner. And starting the lap then, so the first qualifying lap. I need to, look at this, I need to actually put things on. Here we go. Now we can actually see what's happening. Swinging it around then, the very long right-hander of turn 3. Keeping it really tight, actually, on the inside line there. And then turn 4, I always find, is incredibly deceptive around Barcelona. It seems like there's so much track there to play with. There's not so much grip there to play with. And then around the hairpin of turn 5, super quick couple of corners coming up. Really got to use all of the track limits. Look at that, just balancing the car across those inside curves on either side. And it's so close to being flat through the right-hander. Battery opened up all the way. Still plenty of charge to play with, though, as he's going to approach the finish line shortly. Have you come to the realization that if Kels can race, you can beat him? Less of that, not sure. Okay, what kind of a time is Shelby going to put on the board? I believe that this is our first lap. I don't know. I haven't been paying very close attention, but I think this is our first lap of the night, and it's looking like a 1 minute 12.7 for Shelby in the V-Carb. There's the marker. And the gauntlet is thrown. Igor has just started a lap, so let's see who's about to finish one. We have LTK coming up to the start-finish line. It's not good enough to knock Shelby off that top spot, though, in the Williams, a 1:13.3 and a 1:13.3. Just 4 thousandths of a second behind is Agbala Jobs in the Aston Martin. Everyone's in the 1:13s at the moment. Look at that. Arbon can't even break that 1:12 barrier. 1:13.0 for him and a 1:13.2 for Jatin in the other McLaren. Soul Demon has had some sort of a nightmare. It's a 1:18.0. 10 car. There we go. That's what we were waiting to see. a 112.2, and it's a whole half a second ahead of Shelby to get 10K onto provisional pole position. Donkey Dan following close behind with a 112.4. Who's on a lap then? Let's see. Somebody must be approaching the end or something, right? Igor is in the final sector. Here we go. Flat out through turn 13. Slight little lift into 14, but keeps it in 7th gear. Opens up the battery. Still so much charge to play with. Look at that. 113.1 for Igor. Is good enough to split the McLarens, and it will put the Haas onto P6 for now. Good to see you, by the way. PG, Bo. Welcome on in. I'm sorry. I've also set up a new bloody Wi-Fi router today, okay? And I've made a big mistake where I've sat it up in front of where the Twitch chat is on the screen. I can't see the bottom of the Twitch chat. So the person who commented last, I think it's not sure, but I can't really see what your chat says, so I'm not going to bother reading it. I'll rearrange. For now, it's just light censorship. Razor approaching the final sector of his qualifying lap. How you doing, Timmy? Come on, Shelby, you got this. It was a great lap from Shelby, but a couple of people have just managed to go slightly quicker so far. Let's have a look how Razor can do then in the Mercedes, rounding the final couple of corners. There's so much speed through those final corners in Spain. That is pretty fast. It's good enough for P3. A 112.6. Yeah. I mean, that's just a really good lap. What are you going to say about that? Not sure is going to be very excited. We've got Mercedes setting hot laps all over the place. Okay, nearly everybody then has a lap on the board. This is, by the way, I should point out, I did mention it briefly at the start of the stream, but I will just mention it for everybody again. As we watch Truge go over the line with a 113.0. Going to be incredibly close to Arbon and Tolu. There we are, slotting into P9 on the grid for now. This is pre-season. There is nothing riding on this race apart from, you know, pride and competitive vigor. But we're only in pre-season. The real season is yet to begin, and I don't think it's going to start until around about July time, so we've still got a little bit of time for everybody to get used to the new game, get used to some of the new systems. A lot of people that you're seeing tonight, I would wager, are not at full strength, full power, full capacity just yet. Does anyone know what brake linearity is in this game? Also, Kelston, why are you not racing? Because this is Tier 2 of the Revolution Racing League that I am a part of, but I race in Tier 5. These guys are considerably quicker than I am, allegedly. I say allegedly, but that's actually true, Japai. So I'm in a few tiers below. Yeah, you can think of it like divisions. But when they do some races, and I've got the opportunity to do some commentary for them, I think it's quite a nice, cool thing to do, so I try. Let's see if Agbalajobs takes that super tight line that we watched Shelby take around turn 4. See, that's more like the line that I would take, really opening up the throttle on the exit. Nice and tight around turn 5, though, for the hairpin. That's what we like to see. Hopefully we're not going to miss anybody on a crazy lap while I'm just following along with the Aston Martin here. Has anybody played the new game yet? Anybody got strong thoughts, strong opinions either way? I really like it. I really like it. Dirty Air, we're going to see that come into play a lot, I think, during the race tonight, which is great because it just makes the whole thing feel a little bit more, you know, a little bit more like a simulation, a little bit more realistic. It's very difficult to follow exactly behind those cars. By the way, Agbalajobs did set, I think, a personal best of a 113.1. Only good enough for P11, though. Right, let's have a look. Who's coming up towards the finish line? Truge, Starry? No, that's going into the pit. See you later. There is, though, is that an Alpine? It's Soul Demon, but it's something's gone wrong. Something's gone very wrong. What about Arbon? Swinging it around the final couple of corners of Sector 3. This is going to be a lap. Arbon looking to improve on a P10, takes himself up to P8. Arbon's lap looked really, really good before with a 113.0, and now look, everybody into the 12s ahead of him, and a 112.8 is only good enough for P8 so far. Might have got a wheel now. Yes, I believe he does. It's got much better handling. Well, it just feels... You feel the car a lot more, I think. And I'd say it's more difficult in certain ways. But you kind of want that anyway, don't you? I mean, the game's got a difficulty slider, and, you know... by the way, Tolu, 112.9. Not a bad lap at all. Nothing to write home about, but not to be sniffed at. Yeah, I mean, the game's got a difficulty slider, and I don't know about anybody else, but I don't move it, you know, anywhere lower than the top 10 positions. So, like, it's fine. You know what I mean? If it's more complicated to control the car, if there's more to think about, I think that's a cool thing. It's more forgiving with the traction. Possibly. Although I have watched videos of the previous game where, you know, real, like, F1 drivers were trying it out. And they all said about the previous one that, like, it wasn't very good for that. Like, these cars are crazy. We've seen that with some of the rookies this season spinning out all over the place, particularly towards the start of this season. But they're also, you know, once the downforce kicks in, these things, you know, they always say that an F1 car could drive upside down in a tunnel. The downforce that they generate, that, you know, there's grip to be found there. It's not an easy thing to simulate, is it? We'll have a look, of course we'll have a look. Good to see you, Blue Dragon. Good to have you with us. Nothing to write home about. It's only 10 seconds faster than him. That's pretty slanderous, not sure. 10 car rounding the final corner then. With, I think this is second lap in qualifying. Look at that. It is a new fastest lap. It is a... Oh, no, it's not. What am I talking about? Donkey Dan with a 112.0. Ooh, Donkey Dan and 10 car. What a race that's going to be. A 112.0 for Donkey Dan. Gets him onto provisional pole position. And 10 car in the Alpine just behind with a 112.1. Take it easy, not sure. Thanks for chilling out. An F1 car could drive all over Matty's flat as if it was flat on the ground. That's true. That's true. What a great scientific fact from Mr. Bojangles in the chat. Thanks, Bo. I've literally just had a weird occurrence on Suzuka. I got stuck on a curb at 110 miles an hour. I actually think the curbs are a lot more forgiving this year. I don't know if you agree with that. Not like every single curb, but just generally, I think you can take more curb also. And you can also run, I think, in comparison to last year, you can run a much lower ride height without kind of bottoming out all over the place, which is also pretty cool. Let's ride on board with Orion then. Ah, no, he's 2.5 seconds up. Of course he's swinging it into the pits. He's 2.5 seconds up. Give me a break. Agbalo Jobs, this a flying lap? I'll tell you what curb's still terrifying. That one at Saudi Arabia. Don't be getting on the curb at Saudi, you know, after the big sort of, in the sort of S's section in Sector 1. Don't be jumping on that curb, because you won't be getting off it. Is this a good lap by Agbalo Jobs? I haven't been watching. He's coming up to the timing line now at the end of Sector 2. Let's check it out. Well, he's 2.5 tenths down on his previous lap time, so perhaps not from the Aston Martin. Maybe it's fair to say. What kind of sponsor is that? He's swinging it into the pits. What kind of sponsor is that? Valhalla? Is that real? Can't have pretend sponsors. The Williams is not on a lap. Also, is anybody on a lap? LTK. Give us a look. Jeddah's one of my favorite tracks. I like Jeddah a lot. Yeah. I don't know if it's one of my favorites. I think I've been through this before, actually. If I had to have favorites, I think Spa definitely makes it. Oh, LTK is just... What's this? Warming the tyres, or has something gone wrong? I don't know what the hell's going on. Yeah, I think Spa's got to be up there. I think these days now Monza is up there, although never really used to be, but I've grown more and more fond of Monza the more times that I drive it. Yeah, Silverstone's good. Jeddah is good. I think Australia's great. I mean, Suzuka's something else, though, isn't it? Suzuka's way up there for me. I love that racetrack. I've not got a definitive answer on this yet. Are the cars still best to drive with the flick style, or can you drive a bit more smooth without getting punished? Well, I don't know if I'm really the person to ask about that, Blue Dragon, because I'm an idiot. But, you know, I think... What I would say is, I think with the changes to tyre wear this year, you have much more, like... you get a lot more out of a smoother driving style, you know? You can really make it work for you. Look at this awful graphical glitch in the bottom left. The flick style is out of control thing. I don't really know what flick style means, but I'm assuming it just means a pointy car. Is that what we're talking about? I generally like a pointy car. Generally. I think the flick is still faster, but the tyre is much more on it, so it balances it out, kind of. There you go. That's the kind of insight we wanted. By the way, I'm sorry, I'm just riding on board with a bloody kick here that's doing absolutely nothing. Igor, though, is almost a tenth and a half up on his personal best. Let's ride on board with this. Ooh, it looked a little bit scrappy through the final couple of corners, and yeah, it's not a massive improvement in the end. Around about a tenth up. P11 then for Igor. Why can't I see how long's left in the session? Am I just not allowed to see that? We have to guess, I suppose. Can I turn it on somehow? I don't know. Oh, there we go. I just saw it. 55 seconds. So basically, everyone who's on a lap is going to be on their final lap. Infinity just started one, so that's good news there. Orion, I think, yep. That is probably Orion's final lap. It's a 1:12.2. Pretty strong. I think I can see another Red Bull approaching the start-finish line. It's Tolu, but he was on an outlap. There is a McLaren. And it's Arbon. Goes 2.5 tenths up. Gets himself up to P8, but it won't be any better than P8 for the McLaren. Oh my goodness, I'm scrolling through these cars like a lunatic. There's somebody in front of LTK. LTK is on an outlap. I'm not even sure if he'll get a chance to start that. But Tenkart is rounding the final corner. This will be Tenkart's final fastest lap, and it is the fastest lap. Look at that. We are down into the 111s, or 111.8 for Tenkart, and currently the Alpine is on provisional pole position. Right then, I think we're going to have to ride on board with Donkey Dan a little bit as we watch some of the other drivers on the mini-map finish their final laps of this session. But Donkey Dan with an opportunity to knock Tenkart off that pole position. Sector 1 was a slight improvement for the V-Carb, but it was less than a tenth, I think. Up to the timing line at the end of Sector 2, 8 thousandths of a second down on his fastest lap time. It's going to have to be a very courageous final few corners for Donkey Dan to do anything about the 10-kart dominance so far. Final corner then. Open up the rear wing. Give it everything. And Donkey Dan did give it everything. Look at that. less than a tenth in it. A 1:11.963 is good enough for P2 on the grid for the V-Carb. Strong lap there from LTK, though. Solidifying that P3. Soul Demon. No. Well, it's nice to see Soul Demon set a decent lap in the end, a 1:12.4, because 118 million and a half, whatever it was never gonna it's never gonna quite cut it, was it? Oh, cool. On wheel, you kind of flick it into the corner and keep flicking until you don't need to turn anymore. I see. These are some pretty fast laps, PG, but at least it's not our tier, so we don't have to deal with this. When does it end? Just waiting for everybody. Yeah, there we go. But pre-season, like I say, doesn't mean anything tonight, but it means something, doesn't it? It means something in a nebulous way, in a spiritual way, but there's no points on offer. But I think it's still pretty important for 10 Kart that the marker is laid and the gauntlet is thrown down. In his Alpine tonight, a 1:11.8 is faster than everybody else in Tier 2, and 10 Kart will be starting the Spanish Grand Prix from pole position, followed by Donkey Dan alongside him on the front row. Then we have LTK, Orion, Razor, Shelby, Soul Demon, Infinity, Jatin, and Tolu make up the top 10. Tolu, I think, was Tier 3 Drivers' Champion last year, so hopefully going to settle in nicely to the slightly heightened surroundings of Tier 2. Pretend like most drivers don't want a bit of something to brag about. Yeah, no, you're right about that. You are right about that. Not the best track in the world for overtaking, is it really? Spain, but who knows? Maybe we'll see. Well, we'll see some excitement. It's Revolution Racing. Of course, we're going to see some excitement out on track tonight. I'm excited actually to just get a proper race going in F1 25. No, listen, we all know what we've been doing. We've been throwing the car around in time trials, perfecting the setup and tweaking this and tweaking that. And then we've been going into open lobbies, and it's like fucking Dodgems on a Saturday night. Right? We know what we've been up to. Now we're back in, you know, the real world. Actual racing. I haven't seen the lineup for Tier 5 yet. Is it still a massive amount of Brits? Or has it been lowered a bit? I don't know, Blue Drag. I'll be honest with you, that is not a stat I am keeping track of. Absolutely no idea. I don't know. Maybe there's a lot of them. Couldn't tell you. Don't know. I'll be driving under the Irish flag, if it makes you feel any better. This is always the worst bit because I don't know when it's going to start. It doesn't show me. Anything could happen in the next half hour. So, here's some fun and exciting things for you about the drivers tonight. Look at this. I got a little script book. Tolu, as I mentioned, Tier 3 Drivers Champion last season. So exciting to see how he is going to fit in to the surroundings of Tier 2. Soul Demon, who we were watching on a lap time of, I think, 3.5 minutes at one point, was the Tier 3 runner-up last season. So don't be sleeping on Soul Demon. Tier 3 runner-up last season. And here to take the fight to some of the big boys in Tier 2. Trude Steri was in Tier 3 last season. But they have had some social races and stuff when the new game came out. Not, you know, without commentator, you know. They pay me an absolute fortune. It's like, I'm like, you know, it's like Gary Lineker style wages for me on the commentary team at Revolution. So they couldn't afford to hire me for the pre-season social races. But Truj Steri apparently has shown great pace there. Obviously, I didn't watch because they weren't paying me for it. Mafala has been tier 4 driver last season, but shown big improvement on this game so far. Oh, here we go. We're down to 5 red lights. And away they go. Tenkart gets away well. We'll try and ride on board with Donkey Dan for a moment because it looks like not the best start in the world for the V-Carb. We can see Orion in the Red Bull taking a lead. The two V-Carbs go side by side around turn 1. Tenkart building out a big lead at the front whilst everybody behind him is battling. But look at that. It looked like everybody had just about made it through the first few turns unscathed, but LTK, unfortunately, with a big spin, didn't see exactly what happened there, but there must have been some contact. So many cars in such close proximity, and LTK is the unfortunate victim of the first couple of turns here at the Spanish Grand Prix. Right, let's turn some of this stuff on, because I'm supposed to do this. Some interesting different tyre strategies. Oh, here we go. We're gonna. How often is that gonna happen? I'd like to see a couple of different strategies today. Well, you might be in luck because it looks like we do indeed have a couple of different strategies going on today. Tenkart and Donkey Dan have started on the soft compound tires, and then we have lots and lots of medium runners and a few hard runners down the back as well. What has happened there? Oh, it's just telling me it's the fastest lap from Tenkart. Well, of course it was. Donkey Dan, though, has held on to P2, staved off the challenge of some of the drivers behind. In fact, I think it was Shelby who was challenging Donkey Dan through the first few corners. So Shelby has lost a fair few positions there around the first lap of tonight's race. Like I say, though, LTK, look at that. It was an 8-second gap previously from LTK to the back of the pack. But everybody struggling to just maintain grip in the car in all that dirty air and aerodynamic instability provided from the cars in front. And LTK, with lots of clean air to race into, is already down to 4 seconds away from infinity. It's a rough day so far for Williams, but LTK is a very fast driver, and you would imagine that he's going to be back in the midst of everything before too long. Tenkart has pulled out a lead currently over Donkey Dan that is over a second. Donkey Dan has very little battery in the tank. Look at that. He's really trying everything to get into Tenkart's DRS here, but it looks like Tenkart's really pulling away. Although this is getting pretty close. We've just seen an overtake happen there behind as well. Tolu with the rear wing open, gets the move done on Jatin and moves up into a podium position for now. Fastest lap of the race so far is LTK. That's what I mentioned. The man at the back might not be at the back for very long. Your announcer voice is spot on. This is my voice, Carney. Good to see you. What's happening in front? Is it Donkey Dan? Would you believe it? Drama already. It's only lap 3, Donkey Dan. Smashing up a few of the sponsors' boards. And something terrible has happened. Have we got damage happened to Donkey Dan? Because it seems like something awful has happened. But dropped so many positions. Oh, there's got to be some kind of a loss of downforce has happened here for the V-Carb. Absolutely heartbreaking. And worse than that, Tenkart now has a 2.5 second lead out in front of the rest of the chasing pack. Disaster strikes. I would prefer Kelston on an F1 broadcast over Nico Rosberg. I like Nico. I don't know. Seems cruel to me. He needs to be announcing and reporting on races, dude. I could listen to this all day. The thing is, though, Carney, I don't know actually what I'm talking about. Oh, you see? Actually, I skipped away right as the overtake was happening. You know what? You know what I need, Carney? I think you're probably right. I'm okay at discussing the action that's on screen in front of me. I'm not very good at finding the action and staying with the action. What I might speak to Revolution about is if they lower my wages by, you know, a modest amount, let's say 10%, and then they use the 3.5 million that they'll be saving on my contract to hire, some sort of camera broadcast team, you know what I mean, to actually keep up with the action, so that I don't have to do any of this pressing the L2 button and pressing the R2 button, which is, let's be honest, it's a bit much, isn't it? It's a bit much to expect of anybody. Your voice tells you more than the broadcast. I agree with that, Blue Dragon. Thank you for saying so. What's happening in the race? What's happening in the race? Tolu is 3 seconds down on the race leader. 10 car having an absolute glorious evening so far. All he has to do, really, you would think, is keep the Alpine between the white lines, and it could be a relatively straightforward race win tonight for 10 car. The start of the Revolution pre-season in Tier 2. Don't give it with wages, just make them fork out. They're paying for your voice. That's good of you to say. Tolu then, keeping very close to Soul Demon in front around the very long right-hander of Turn 4, and then the tight hairpin of Turn 5. Is he going to be able to hang close through the next couple of very fast corners? 6, I think that's 7 and 8, isn't it? Because I think this is 9. There must be a disguised corner somewhere on this racetrack. Let's see if we can work it out. This is 9. Is this 9? Is this 10? No, that's 10, 11. This is 12. You see, sometimes it says it's a corner. It's not a corner, is it? It's a kink in the road. Gotta know, are you Crockley's Irish cousin? No, not that. We're going to watch an overtake then. Here you go. Look at this for excitement. Tolu with the rear wing open. There you can see it. The Red Bull goes flying past the Alpine. And I think was pressing down on the battery slightly there as well. But everybody is just trying to do everything they can. I suppose the drivers are going to have to work together to try and catch up to 10 car. Let's check in with LTK, who we know had that awful start to the race and ended up going for a spin. By the way, somebody's off. It's Razor. There you go. Kelston keeping track of the action as always. We've got a Mercedes in the barrier. And heartbreak for Razor. Donkey Dan must have had something wrong with the car, by the way, because he's made a very early pit stop and onto the medium tyres. So really unfortunate stuff for Donkey Dan, but we'll see how that... Whoa, something's wrong. Something's wrong with this car. Has he got floor damage? It might be something like that, because we know Donkey Dan is a fast driver. We've seen it in qualifying, but something's wrong so far. How fast are we driving? Well, I'm not. Not tonight. LTK, though, this is the story I was going to hone in on for a moment. Had that awful lap one, spinning on the... I suppose it was on the entrance to Turn 3, and ended up in all sorts of gravel traps. Is admittedly ahead of Razor, who's gone for a spin, and Donkey Dan, who's made a pit stop, but has overtaken Agbalajobs, who's behind there in the Aston Martin, and is within the DRS of the cars in front. So LTK could definitely be making some moves and moving up through the field over the next few laps. Don't think any of them are actually driving. If they were, though, that would be quite impressive. Well, they are kind of driving, aren't they? I mean, some of them have a wheel. I don't. A wheel. Whoa, look at the lockups in front. Everybody really throwing the car around Turn 5. You love to see it. The tyres screeching and howling. What have we got going on then? It's still a 3 second. I mean, 10 cart's going to hate me because he's having the absolute race of his life. And there's not a chance I'm going to be focusing on any of it because boring, isn't it? He's way out in front. Although, important to know, is 10 kart going to try and make a one-stop work and ditch these soft tyres for some hards a little bit later on? Or are we going to see some genuine kind of, strategy shenanigans come into play? We might, as we watch Tolu once again get around Soul Demon in the DRS zone. First penalty of the evening. Unfortunately, it is Igor in the Haas with a 3-second time penalty for messing around with those track limits one too many times. Unlucky. Arbon started the race on the hard tyres, by the way. Arbon. So, doing all right, I think, to maintain that position in P9 there. Currently the highest placed of the hard runners out in the field, and not really under too much pressure from the cars behind, if we're being honest. Arbon's main goal here is, I'm sure, going to be to stay in this little DRS train of medium runners in front. There we go. He's going to open up the rear wing in this next DRS zone, and the cars are pretty bunched up together in front, so should have a pretty easy time of getting some free speed, free lap time on offer here. Shelby then, who I know had fans in the chat during qualifying, currently running in a very respectable P4. Not got an awful lot of battery to play with. But does manage to harvest a little bit around the first couple of corners. Spectate Soul. Oh, I can see. I'm sorry, because I have Twitch and YouTube open, and I'm definitely going to miss YouTube chats. So I apologise about that. Spectate Soul. Who said it? Who said it? Nexus, look what you made happen. Soul Demon loses out to Tolu. Nearly bins it. Great driving, to be honest, to keep the car on the road. Hi mate, first time watching here. I've joined the league into tier 5, so nowhere near as good as these guys. Whoa, you're very welcome, Nathan. I am a tier 5 driver myself, and I am also nowhere near as good as these guys. So welcome to the club, Nathan, and it's good to have you on board. I hope it's going to be an exciting season. Is there a weird visual glitch for everyone in the bottom left? Yes, Japai. Yes, there is for me also. Interesting new feature of the Formula 1 cars for F1 25. They're now fitted with 18 side mirrors. Don't know if you were all aware of that. Hopefully you are now. We're going to spectate Soul Demon for a minute, because that's what Nexus said to do. And we're going to spectate Soul Demon as he goes flying past Tolu in the DRS zone. By the way, a thing has happened. And the thing that happened is 10 Kart has pulled the car into the pits, and would you believe it, has fitted a brand new set of medium tyres. So absolutely no chance for me then that 10 Kart is thinking about a one-stop fitting the mediums. He's going to be doing at least one more tyre change before the end of tonight's race. Surely you would think so. So we'll keep an eye on that. Anyway, at the moment, Soul Demon leads the Grand Prix. Look at that. One Alpine gives up the lead, and another one takes its place, although Tolu getting very close, taking that nice tight line. And approaching the end now of Sector 3, you would think that Tolu is going to have the rear wing open in just a moment once they have rounded Turn 14 and go absolutely flying past. Don't even really need to press down on that battery, do you? Just keep the charge. And really, like I say, these guys need to work together now with all of this clean air in front of them. They're going to want to race because it's a competitive racing driver league. But they need to just put in laps that are as fast as possible. Work with each other, share the DRS, keep the batteries charged, and just try and get any kind of, any kind of advantage that they might be able to find on 10 Kart. Fortunately though, for 10 Kart, nobody else was really running the softs apart from Donkey Dan, so he's not really near anybody after that first pit stop. So 10 Kart has so much clean air to run into as well with those brand new fresh medium tyres. Going to be finding all sorts of grip all over the racetrack, you would think. So really tough ask, I think, for the guys in front. Skull Killer, by the way, what happened? What happened? We've got a Ferrari in the wall. The only Ferrari running in tonight's race, actually. I'm pretty sure you can just choose whatever car you want in pre-season, so strange. Nobody else wanted the Ferrari. Competitive Racing Driver League. Is that the official name? That is the official name. Correct. Shelby has quit the session, a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, and says, thank you very much, FIA. I'll take my check to the bank. I'm not racing here anymore. Shelby's out. Killed a couple of pit crew on his way out of the lobby tonight. See you later, Shelby. All right, now it's heating up. Now we're in pre-season, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, Ferrari just been there, I guess. Skull Killer got skull killered there, really. Brand new medium tyres now. Hitting onto the Ferrari. What's happening up the front? Soul Demon drops out of DRS range of Tolu in front. Once again, I pointed this out earlier, but just to remind people, Tolu was Tier 3 Drivers Champion last season, and Soul Demon was Tier 3 Driver Runner-Up. So, interesting, they're in a Tier 2 pre-season lobby right now. But look at that. Look at the gap to the cars behind, who are actually battling around the final corner, which is exciting to see. But yeah, the two Tier 3 extraordinaires going pretty strong so far in tonight's race. Spectate Tolu. Okay. I hear you, Nexus. Little over a third of the way through the Grand Prix then. We do have some pit stops happening. I'm going to keep it on the tyres for a moment because we need to try and see what's going on with all these strategies. Some people seem like... Are they attempting the one-stop? I'm not really sure if the one-stop works very well on this year's game. I know that... see, when I play on career mode, as I think I have discussed before, I play career mode and cockpit cam only. No heads-up display. It's really stupid. I have to talk to my engineer when I want to know anything. Because I don't know what's going on really in the race around me. But it's very immersive. Very immersive. It's very fun. But what I will tell you is I do 100% races also. So I'm not very far through it. And you can't do a one-stop there. Well, I don't really know how the old 50% works. Shelby, what has he done? Well... Took out a couple of pit droids. Arbon, rear wing open, but it's down the end of the straight where he's getting the move done on Swooge. That was a close call. And a 3-second time penalty, unfortunately, goes to Orion down there in the V-carb with some brand new medium tyres. And unfortunately, a 3-second penalty to his name. It's not going to be the final penalty that we see tonight, though, I don't think. We're only on lap 14 currently, and there are 33 to complete at Barcelona tonight. Bro, how did you not know Soul had a puncture? I don't know. Am I supposed to pay... How do I pay attention to that? Listen, Nexus, let me tell you something. If you came here for a knowledgeable F1 guy talking about F1, you came to the wrong place. I hate the MFD anyway. I like the MFD. I wish you could sort of make it appear on the wheel, though. That would be perfect. Getting schooled in the YouTube chat, I know. I know, tell me about it, 3G. It's pre-season, who cares? Who's even watching this? You know what I mean? Let's watch a pit stop. Good, solid, clean. Clean from Haas. Who is it at Haas now? It's not Gunter Steiner anymore, is it? I was about to say Gunter Steiner would love that, but I don't... What's he up to now? Signing books and stuff? Do we know? Tenka slowly making his way back up through the field. Look at that. I think he's now... Yeah, he's a pit stop and 1.5 seconds ahead of Agbala Jobs in the Aston Martin. One horse race? Feels like it, doesn't it? But like I say, maybe some of these guys are genuinely going for the one-stop. And I don't think there's any chance that Tenka pitting on lap 9, 10, whatever it was, and fitting the mediums. No way Tenkart's going for the one-stop. So he kind of needs that pit stop advantage right now, it would seem. Tolu finally brings the Red Bull into the pits, and we have a new race leader. It's the only person to have started on the hard tyres tonight who still is ahead of 10 in the standings. Look at that from LTK. Just goes to show you spin it out. Lap 1, turn 3. The race is not over. LTK sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix so far and is currently sitting in a rather pretty 7th position. After finishing lap 1, a good 4 seconds behind the rest of the field. Natty, I hear you very slow on it. That's true, yeah. That's true, Japai. What we should do is just watch 10 kart, because apparently this is how you drive fast. So if anyone was curious, this is how you play F1 25, okay? Pay attention, everybody. Arbon swings the McLaren into the pits and allows 10 kart to take his rightful place at the head of the pack, leading the Grand Prix once again. Right then. I mean, that looks smooth, doesn't it? Through the first couple of corners. Just looks nice and easy, no problems. Swinging it out wide through turn 3. I'm interested to see what sort of line 10 kart takes on turn 4. Oh, 10 kart swings that car out wide on the exit of turn 4. I don't know what was going on with Shelby before. It was a very unique kind of a racing line that the V-Carb was employing during qualifying. Look at that. You just... It's easy, isn't it? It's easy. All you have to do is hit every apex. Yeah, that's right, Japai. Smooth operator. Smooth operator. Igor gets a 3-second time penalty. I think that's his second one. Igor now has 6 seconds worth of time penalties to contend with. And Agbala Jobs finally brings that Aston Martin into the pits. So the longest that we've seen anybody take the hard tyres is, what, 16, 17 laps? No way these guys are thinking of a one-stop. There's no way. No way anybody's thinking of a one-stop tonight. They're lunatics. There's not a chance. Is there? Maybe some of these guys. I mean, Tolu. How many laps has Tolu got left to do? 15? Yeah, Tolu could do a one. Yeah, maybe they are doing a one-stop. Maybe, what the hell do I know? You know what I mean? Tolu one-stop meta. That's where we're living. LTK, by the way, is closing in on the Red Bull. We'll watch this as we approach the DRS straight at the end of Sector 2. LTK going to have that extra boost with the rear wing open. We're opting not to spend any battery or really go for that one. It's not a very long DRS straight, is it, really, to get that kind of advantage? Not really sure what the downshift was all about, though. Burning fuel. You don't have to do the glitch anymore, do you, for harvesting the battery? It just happens. That could be a track limit. That could be a warning for LTK. That was pretty wide around the final corner, and it goes to show, because it took the entire straight there, really, even with the RS, to get the move done on Tolu in the Red Bull. 19 laps then. We are well over now, halfway through the Spanish Grand Prix for tonight. As you might expect, 10 kart is currently leading the race. Jatin behind, who must definitely also be doing a 2-stop. There's definitely some strategy shenanigans going on, which is good to see. We didn't really get that in last year's game, and maybe that's just because people haven't learned the meta yet, and maybe the meta will emerge, and then everyone will revert to doing the same thing, and it's boring all the time. But I kind of hope it stays a bit more like this. Tolu also not looking to make a move happen. Look at that, 100% charge in the battery. You better believe what's happening on the start finish straight in just a moment. Long way round turn 12 and then completely flat, of course, through turn 14. Final corner of the lap, and Tolu maintains traction, lots of aerodynamic stability. And with that rear wing open, look at that. And a quick squirt on the ERS. No problem. Gets the move done on LTK. I'm not sure if they're considering that they might be working together in order to eat into, you know, 10 karts advantage. But I think it's probably just unassailable by this point. The two kick Saubers are running pretty close together. Had enough battery to burn there? Absolutely had enough battery to burn. I tell you what, PG, that's one thing I think I've gotten better at on this year's game is managing my ERS a bit more effectively. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's just because after doing the league racing last season, because that was, of course, my first season of doing any kind of league racing and whatever, I just got, like, familiar enough with driving reasonably fast around the tracks that I then had the brain space left, I had the head space left to start really thinking about what's going on with my battery. But yeah, it does feel like that to me. It feels like I can manage it slightly easier. That's not to say it drains any quicker or slower. I don't know anything about that, but just on a personal perspective. So many lockups, yeah. Well, there won't really be a single assist in sight tonight, will there? I don't know. Some of these guys might be running ABS, you know, because when I compare some of my lap times to them in time trial, I know some of them have the ABS on for their time trial laps. But you've got to turn it off, haven't you? Let the lockups happen. That's how you get faster. Those tyres smoking in front from LTK. Love to see it. 10 kart then. When are we thinking about this pit stop? How long does a pit stop take in Spain? There's a question for all the F1 nerds and anoraks out there. How long does a pit stop take in Spain? Because this is going to lose the lead of the Grand Prix, and not just on track, but I think overall for 10 kart. Because Tolu and LTK, here they are rounding the final corner. And Tolu probably wants to take these hard tyres through to the end of the race. So Tolu now is really leading the Grand Prix. You can forget about Orion. Those mediums are 9 laps old. And he's got the time penalty as well to contend with. Not the greatest day ever for Orion, but, you know, making a good show of it. But realistically now, Tolu's in the lead. And 10 kart needs to catch Tolu in order to still win this race. Now, he's got brand new medium tyres on, which should take him to the end of the race. Shouldn't be locking up so much, though. I don't lock up this much. Probably why I'm slow. Yeah, you do need to lock up a little bit. Well, obviously, you never want to lock up. But I think we have to consider the level that we're at, right, Japai? Even the level that these guys are at, and these guys are a lot quicker than I am. But the level that I'm at and the level these guys are at, they're not, you know, not esports best in the world drivers. You're gonna lock up sometimes, and it's much better to be driving right on the limit and dealing with the occasional lockup and actually extracting all of the raw pace out of the car that you can find by really going for it, than just taking it so easy that you're never really finding those margins. You know, you might as well push for it. It's probably around 21 to 22 seconds. I see, for a pit stop in Spain. Wondered if that was a bit of contact, but I don't think so. I think it's just a very bumpy road here around Catalunya. But I tell you what, if you watch down the bottom of the screen now, Japai, you see the well, that wasn't the best trail braking technique actually, but I thought we might be able to see a little bit of trail braking. Let's see if Tolu can pull it off. That one's just very hard on the brakes. Have you heard of string theory? Yeah, I've heard of string theory. Is it an F1 thing or a quantum physics thing? I know about the quantum physics thing. I don't know. I thought we were going to see some. thought we were going to see an exciting driving style from Tolu, but it seems like that is not the case. 10 sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, a 1:15.0, and that Alpine is on the charge. It'd be interesting to see if LTK takes these hards all the way to the end. You would think now in the position that he's in, he's going to have to try to. Might be difficult to keep up with Tolu though for the entire rest of this race. Ryan, with another 3-second time penalty. I think that probably takes him up to 6 seconds worth of penalties so far. Actually, it's been pretty light on the penalty front so far, which is also pretty interesting to see. Attaching a string to the bottom of the steering wheel to both feet. Oh, I see. Hey, how you doing, B-Rad? Good to see you. What's that then? 9 laps remaining? Well, 8 laps, I suppose, when LTK crosses the start-finish line. We have a yellow flag in Sector 1. I think, was it Soul Demon? And it looks like Soul Demon has given up. We might get a slight view, I suppose, of what's happened here. Whoa, Donkey Dan! There's a graphical glitch for you, look at that. Okay, well, Donkey Dan. Second on the grid tonight, but it's all gone wrong. There we can see the Alpine pulled up on the side of the road. We've not got a VSC or a safety car, have we? I don't think so. It certainly isn't telling me that that is the case, but we do have an Alpine pulled up on the grass. As you push the pedal more, the steering wheel should become straight. Oh, right, yeah, sure. Yes. But it's like everything with racing, isn't it? I think you follow an ethos like that when you're learning how to be smooth. And it's true what they say, smooth is fast, but actually fast is faster than smooth. And I guess what I mean by that is you've got to be on the limit, you know, when you want to get really, really, really fast. And then that's why these guys are like locking up sometimes, because you've got to go for it on occasion, you know. I don't know how to describe it, like a mentality thing. LTK can't get the move done on Tolu down the start-finish straight. Now that could be indicative of what's going to happen in the final few laps of the Grand Prix. We are approaching that now. A lot less than 10 laps to go. And I think LTK is probably just feeling the wear on these hard tyres a little bit. His tyres are now 4 laps older than Tolu's in front. And I'm pretty sure this year they've doubled the tyre wear, haven't they, on 50% races in order to kind of account for that disparity. So if you were comparing it to like a 100% race, I think they're going to feel like they're about 8 laps older, and that's going to be all sorts of traction and grip being lost across all areas of the racetrack, really. I still have ABS on, can't be asked to learn without it on at the moment. Yeah, it was one of like the last things that I turned off. But I'm going to be honest with you, PG. I turned off most of the assists when I was first learning to get quick at F1. Like very close together, you know. And for a while I was bad, you know what I mean? I'm spinning the car and bad things were happening. But I kind of well, for me anyway, that's what really worked in terms of making me a lot quicker. And just making me, you know, forcing me to get used to it. I get locking up when you're overtaking off the conventional line, but not when there's no one near you. Yeah. I think you're right. I think you're right, Japai. Generally, obviously, nobody actually wants to lock up. But I don't think it's indicative that they're kind of making a mistake. By the way, what an exciting finish we have. Tenkar is now 2.5 seconds away from Tolu in front. Tolu and LTK will know that. Tenkar is absolutely on the charge. While we've been talking Aristotle and Plato and philosophizing about the finer details of motor racing has been happening on the screens in front of us. Yeah, just turn it off, PG. Who cares? Oh, interesting, exciting thing, Japai. I'm not sure if PG made you aware of this or if we spoke about it, but PG has joined the Racing League this season. He wasn't in it last season and is currently in my tier. We have our pre-season race around Spain on Friday, and I guess we could end up in a position where, you know, some people look way too fast and they need to move up a tier, or way too slow and they need to move down a tier. But at least as things currently stand, on Friday I'll be racing on the same track as PG in a pretty competitive league race, which is exciting. I have no traction, kind of do manual gears. Oh, you like the automatic gears? Man, manual gears is like a big one for me. I don't think you can mess around with that. I think you have to go manual. Mostly just because it allows me to like mess with my fuel consumption a little bit. Yeah, manual gears for me. Manual gears for me. But that's one of the cool things about this racing league as well. There's no, you know, again, it's not really an esports league in that traditional way. Woof! What a snap there from LTK in front, just about manages to keep the Williams pointing in the right direction. It's going to be a very exciting finish. We have 5 laps to go in the Spanish Grand Prix. I'm excited, I hope you are too. Yeah, you're allowed to use any assists that you like in this racing league. And I think that's probably a cool thing, because it makes it, you know, accessible to as many people as possible. I use controller. I still use X and square to deal with my gears. Look at the Alpine getting incredibly close to LTK in front. It is a bit of a 3-horse race, but really Tenkar is going to have all the grip compared to these guys. See a huge lockup from LTK in front. Those 17-lap old hard tyres are really screeching and squealing under the frame of that Williams, and not for the first time we see a massive snap. Oh, and finally the grip disappears and LTK spins it around, just can't hold on to that car any longer. I think was just trying to extract all of the pace that he might be able to find in those hard tyres, and was just trying a little bit too hard in the end, and unfortunately LTK will not be in the discussion for the race win come the final few laps. But this is still going to be exciting, because Tenkar is less than a second behind Tolu. You would think is going to get the move done on Tolu down the start finish. No, okay, Tolu not having any of that. Make sure he maintains a little bit of track position. That's probably going to be quite critical, actually, into these final few laps. Now, ordinarily, you kind of think you want to be, you know, slightly behind, save up some of the battery, get ready to blast it on the final lap or two to really make that advantage count. But the problem is, if Tolu does dip behind Tenkar, he might find it tricky to keep up with him around these twisty middle sections of the Barcelona circuit. I'll turn the ABS off for Friday turn 1. He came in like a torpedo. The other thing that I would say is, and I say this all the time, and I'm going to have to focus on the race a little bit because it's going to be an exciting finish, but the PlayStation 5 controller is fantastic for playing this game. I don't know too much about Xbox, but I can tell you that the adaptive triggers and the way that they respond to the loss of grip, and the way that you can feel the grip being lost on the adaptive triggers, is pretty incredible. And yeah, you're right, it does help with things like ABS, just having that extra little feeling through your fingers. We see Tenkar then get the move done on Tolu, but Tolu will not be giving this one up anytime soon. What other kind of battles have we got going on? Well, P4 on track is going to be close, but really LTK can probably just sit behind Igor, who I think has 6 seconds worth of time penalties, and still manage to finish ahead. Trudsteri, by the way, under the radar, is it fair to say, but currently sitting in a pretty comfortable looking P3. What an awful race for Donkey Dan, though. I think he's going to get lapped. Donkey Dan in real danger of being lapped by it. Well, he's got brand new soft tyres on. Maybe not. Just looking at a bit high brake pressures. Yeah, getting used to trail braking is really tough. And I'm not sitting here like I'm an expert because, you know, I race in Tier 5. I know my place. But I think it's more fun, though, when you get to grips with it. Right then. Final 2 laps. What have we got, Tolu? 10 car, pulling out all the tricks, weaving down the start-finish straight, not letting Tolu build up any kind of slipstream behind the Alpine. In a second, we might see Donkey Dan out in front of these drivers. I'm just not sure how close that 5-second gap really is. Not sure if it's really visible at any point around here. Oh, and we've had another problem. LTK is off again. Williams having an absolute nightmare. I think 20 laps, it's just too long. I think he's tried to go far too long on those hard tyres, and they have completely given up. Heartbreaking stuff for LTK. But a good race nonetheless, and a good showing, I think it's fair to say, for the Williams driver tonight. Right then, this is going to be Tolu's last opportunity, really. I think 10 Kart has blasted a load of battery. There you go, look at that. He is in overtake mode. He is burning everything that the ERS has got, making sure that he maintains the lead, because even with the rear wing open, battery fully drained for Tolu, the overtake does not happen, and you can't really do an overtake in that section of the track on the final lap. We're now on the final lap, of course, because there's just not enough start-finish straight before the checkered flag. Within a second, Tolu is going to find it really difficult, I think, through the twists and turns of the Spanish Grand Prix circuit to get the win. But if 10 Kart makes a mistake or two, we might see things shift up. Bit of a lock-up for the Alpine in front. Lots of pressure on these final few corners now then. Yellow flags are apparently out in Sector 1 and Sector 3. It's all happening. No battery remaining whatsoever for Tolu. Really just burning everything to try and make this one happen. LTK gets a 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane and retires the car. He's had enough. But great entertainment, great racing nonetheless from LTK. Just an unfortunate finish to the race tonight. No dice for Tolu then. It is going to be a race win from pole position for 10 Kart in the Alpine. Made the 2-stop work. Made everybody else look a little bit silly, to be honest. 10 Kart really laying down that marker for the season ahead. Tolu brings it home in P2. And Trudsteri in the Kick Sauber takes the final spot on the podium, finishing in P3. Any kind of craziness going to happen elsewhere at the end of the race? I don't think so. Albon has had to make a pit stop and fit some soft tyres just a few laps ago. Maybe just getting some pre-season testing done. P4, great race. Controller disconnected. Pace horrendous. Honestly, I think there was a lot of questionable decisions tonight, Jatin. Let's say it like that. But it was an exciting race to watch. I'm not sure if I did a very good job of watching all of it, to be honest. Every time I tried to capture an exciting thing that was happening, I got there a little bit late. But there he is. 10 Kart. Get your selfie stick out. Top of the podium. And takes the win at the Spanish Grand Prix for the first race this season in Tier 2 of Revolution. The racing league formerly known as F1 Broke Boys. Trudsteri, really strong showing there as well, I think, in P3. And as I mentioned, Tolu was Tier 3 Drivers' Champion last season. and manages to finish second in this first pre-season race of Tier 2. This is one of my favorite features, by the way, about the race, or about the new game and what it does after the race. Race winner, of course, 10 kart there. The fastest lap was won by Infinity in the Williams. Driver of the day goes to Jatin. Congratulations, Jatin. P4 brought it home. Most overtakes goes to Orion, who also ended with around about 43 seconds worth of time penalties, I think. And Trujsteri, the cleanest driver. And that is really how he made his way to that third and final spot on the podium for tonight. Anyway, everybody, I hope you enjoyed it. I am going to be racing on Friday because we have our Tier 5 pre-season race also. Whoop, this controller disconnected thing is stressing me out. We have our Tier 5 pre-season race also around Circuit de Catalunya, Barcelona, Catalunya, whichever way around you're supposed to say it. Spanish Grand Prix will be live from around about 8 p.m. UK time on Friday night. I hope you enjoyed this one. I'm going to try and do, you know, just as much commentary as I am able to do for them this season, although it's primarily just going to be once a week, and I'm going to try and stick to Tier 2 so I can get familiar with some of these drivers. Everybody, I love you all a lot. Please be unspeakably and unreasonably kind to each other over the coming days. And I'll see you sometime really soon. Thanks and good night.